Picture this. You walk into the gym, ready for a workout, but you haven't eaten a single thing. No breakfast, no pre-workout bar, nothing. I know what you're thinking. Common wisdom says that's a terrible idea, right? That you need fuel to exercise. But what if? What if that's not the whole story? What if your body can actually perform better and burn more fat when you work out on an empty stomach?
So that leads us to a really interesting question. We've been told for years to fuel up before we work out, but the science is actually starting to push back on that idea, big time. So is that meal you're so carefully timing, is it actually doing what you think it is? Well, let's find out. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to kick things off by busting the pre-workout myth. Then, we'll dive into your body's two main fuel systems. After that, we'll get into 4 pretty surprising benefits of training fasted. I'll lay out a practical plan to get you started, and we'll wrap up with some crucial safety tips and the big takeaways.
All right, Section 1, the pre-workout myth. So let's dive right in. And here's the first big shocker for a lot of people. The energy for your morning workout doesn't come from the breakfast you just ate. It actually comes from the food you ate yesterday.
Just take a look at this timeline. When you eat something, that food hangs out in your stomach for hours, just breaking down. Then it's got to make its way through your small intestine for absorption, which can take another 4 to, well, up to 12 hours. So that energized feeling you think you get after a pre-workout meal, it's mostly a hormonal response and your own brain expecting it, not the actual calories hitting your system right away.
Okay, let's move on, because this is where it starts to get really interesting. To get why fasted exercise works, you have to understand your body's 2 main fuel tanks. And I want you to think about it like this. You've got a pantry for quick snacks, and you've got a deep freezer for long-term storage.
So on one hand, you've got glycogen. That's your pantry. It holds about 1,600 to 2,000 calories of super quick, easy-to-grab energy that's stored right in your muscles and liver. But then you've got your body fat. That's the deep freezer. Even a really lean person has tens of thousands of calories just packed away. But here's the catch. Your body is kind of lazy. It loves convenience. So it's always going to grab those easy snacks from the pantry first. And this all ties into a really cool concept called metabolic flexibility. It's basically your body's skill at switching between burning carbs and burning fat for fuel. See, if you're constantly snacking and eating, your body never really needs to learn how to open up that deep freezer. But fasted exercise, it forces it to learn. It makes your metabolism way more adaptable and efficient. All right, this is where we get to the really good stuff. So what actually happens inside your body when you decide to train in a fasted state? Let's jump into 4 of the most powerful, science-backed benefits.
First up, and this is a big one, you burn way more fat. And this isn't just a guess. A huge analysis, we're talking 27 different studies, found that doing aerobic exercise when you're fasted can boost fat burning by 20 to 30%. So why? Well, when you haven't eaten, your insulin levels are super low. And insulin's job is to kind of lock the fat inside your cells. With low insulin, that lock is off, and your body is free to use all that stored fat for energy.
Benefit number 2, you get this absolutely massive surge of human growth hormone, or HGH. I mean, some studies are showing levels spiking 5 to 14 times higher than normal. That's insane. And HGH does 2 incredible things. First, it protects your muscles from being broken down for energy. And second, it basically tells your fat cells, hey, release that energy. It's your body's genius way of saving muscle while torching fat when fuel is low.
And number 3 is something called improved insulin sensitivity. When you exercise fasted, your muscles get incredibly good at pulling glucose out of your bloodstream. This means your body gets better at managing blood sugar using way less insulin. And over time, that is a huge win for your metabolic health. It's a key way to protect yourself against insulin resistance.
And finally, number 4. You know that super sharp, focused feeling people talk about? It's totally real, and it's all thanks to a cocktail of cool things happening in your body. You get more BDNF, which is like fertilizer for your brain cells. Your body might produce ketones, a super clean fuel for your brain, and you get a boost of norepinephrine, which just cranks up your alertness. It's actually an old survival mechanism. Our ancestors needed to be laser-focused when they were hungry so they could go hunt.
Okay, so hopefully you're starting to see the why behind all this. But now let's talk about the how, because not all exercise is the same when you're fasting. Matching the right type of workout to your fasted state is really, really important. So check out this simple guide. If you're just starting out, stick with low to moderate aerobic stuff, like a brisk walk or a light jog. That's where your body is going to primarily burn fat. Now, high-intensity workouts like HIIT, that's more for advanced folks, because it burns through your limited glycogen stores really fast. And lifting weights? Totally doable, but you absolutely have to eat a protein-rich meal afterward to make sure you recover and build that muscle back up.
Look, the absolute key here, especially when you're starting out, is to just take it slow. Start with something simple. A morning walk before breakfast is perfect, and give your body a few weeks to get used to it before you even think about cranking up the intensity. And seriously, the most important rule is to just listen to your body. It'll tell you what it needs.
All right, let's get into our final section. And please pay close attention because this part is absolutely critical. As great as fasted exercise can be, it is definitely not for everyone, and you have to know the warning signs.
Seriously, take a good look at this list. If you fall into any of these categories, like if you're pregnant, have type 1 diabetes, or you're brand new to both fasting and exercise at the same time, then fasted training is probably not for you. At least not without talking to your doctor first. Your safety has to be priority number one. No exceptions. And look, it doesn't matter who you are. If you start feeling any of these things, like you're super dizzy, your heart is racing, or you feel extremely weak, that's your body screaming at you to stop. Just rest, grab some water, and if you don't feel better, call it a day.
And one last super important safety tip. Hydration is everything. I mean everything. When your insulin is low, your body actually flushes out more water and salt. A lot of the time when people feel crummy from fasting, it's not the lack of food, it's just plain old dehydration. So drink plenty of water and maybe even throw a tiny pinch of salt in there.
You know, there's a quote that I think just perfectly sums this whole idea up. It says that your body has this huge reserve of fuel just sitting there, waiting. And by doing this, you're simply giving your body a reason to finally tap into it. It's not about starving yourself, it's about teaching your body to use the energy it already has stored away.
So, after all this, where do you land on it? Some people will tell you to never, ever exercise on an empty stomach. Others absolutely swear by it. So what do you think? Is fasted exercise just an overhyped fad? Is it a seriously underrated tool for our health? Or maybe, just maybe, the truth is somewhere in the middle. The real key, as we've seen, is understanding how your own body works and then using that knowledge wisely.